Turn this 12 by 12 paper and ephemera into a mini scrapbook journal that you can enjoy or give away as a gift. Hello, my paper peeps. Welcome to my channel. My name is Christine and I am a paper crafter that has been itching to make something special for Thanksgiving, which is just around the corner. This easy mini scrapbook journal is a perfect hostess gift. It can be filled with pictures, favorite quotes, and sayings. It even has space for the person you give this to, for them to catalog their thoughts, wishes, dreams, and prayers. In short, it is a junk journal masterpiece, a one-page wonder that has no binding requirements and can be easily crafted within an hour. This project was inspired by Pink Strawberryz. She is a creative genius, so go and check her out for more one-page wonders. But for now, let's flex those creative muscles and let's get started. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is cut up a 12 by 12 piece of paper. Now you can use the printed one or just this blank page, but I'm going to use the blank page because it's a base for the rest of the paper that I'm going to use. Now the first thing you'll want to do is score the paper at 3, 6, and 9 inches. And then you turn it clockwise or counterclockwise, whichever, and you score it again at 3, 6, and 9. The next thing you want to do is take your Fiskars or even just a pair of scissors, and you want to cut along those score lines in this fashion. So you'll want to cut the score line on the far left, and as you can see, you have 4 squares. Now you want to cut the first line on that left side all the way down to the beginning of the 4th square. There you go. Now you move it all the way to the right, and that far right column of squares, you want to do the exact same thing. So cut all the way down to the beginning of the 1st square. Now the next thing you want to do is do the exact same thing with the middle line, but instead cut from the bottom up to meet the bottom of that 1st square at the top. So essentially what you're doing is doing the exact same thing, but cutting from the bottom. Yeah, so you can see the little oil marks on the paper. That's for me putting hand lotion on my extremely dry hands. But disregard that, we're not even gonna see that in our project. So the first thing you wanna do is you're going to accordion fold all these squares. So using a bone folder to help you create very distinct creases in your paper, you want to fold the first square towards you and then backwards away from you, and then again towards you. And then what you want to do is pull underneath. Grab the square and go underneath. And then accordion fold away from you. And whenever you're going into the next aisle of squares, you always want to fold underneath and then fold towards you, fold away from you. Oops, let's bone fold that. Fold away from you. And then towards you. Now, is this like origami? I've never done origami. I'm assuming this is, and this is kind of what they do, but just in a larger format. Someone correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's what they do. There. Now this is your finished mini album. I'll take that price tag off later, not a big deal. Now the next thing you want to do is adhere the pages together. So, and depending what kind of pockets you want, because this mini album will have pockets, it'll really determine how you adhere the pages together. Now you can use either adhesive, glue adhesive, or double-sided tape. In this case, I'm going to use double-sided tape. And I like using these OXO paper clips for my crafting because it just keeps everything together, or else it'll all fall apart and be accordion filing all over the table. So I like using this, and I actually use it in a lot of my crafting. So here's a kitchen hack for you, the OXO paper clip. Okay, so I adhered this to the first page, and now you've got your first page there plus a pocket. And then this is just a page itself. Now this flips over, so you have a choice. You can do a top pocket or a side pocket. But because I'm going to be using ribbon to close this book up, in general, I think I will have mostly top pockets. And because you want it to be a book, you have to make sure that when you're fooling around with this, that you know which pages to adhere to. So that's kind of what we're doing here, is I'm fooling around with it, trying to figure out, this is the front page, okay, and there's that back page, which we don't want because we want it to look more like a book. So now we have two top pockets that you can use, or you choose not to use, it's not a big deal. And then you have this book page. Now we have this other pocket here. Now do you want to do side? Do you want a top pocket? Okay, let's do that top pocket. I think I'm gonna stick with that. So there's a cover, a page with a pocket, now another page, but there's this back section that we don't want, and that will most likely turn into a pocket, another top sleeve. Now, I'm a firm believer of when you go to someone's home and they've invited you for dinner, it's always nice to bring that really great bottle of wine. But I also love to bring some crafting. So instead of a bottle of wine and cheese and crackers, I'll bring a bottle of wine and some crafting. Okay, so now you've got that page. Now there's this side pocket. It's not going to be a top pocket. It definitely won't be a bottom pocket. So we're actually forced to either close it up completely or turn it into a side pocket. In this case, I will turn it into a side pocket, but like I said, I most likely won't use it, but I'm just gonna keep it there just in case I have something extra I wanna put in the album. Now, I love scrapbook journaling. It's probably my favorite way of crafting and reflecting at the same time. I think it's extremely therapeutic. And if you are like me and you love to craft, but you also like to journal too, this is the two in combination can really add to your personal growth. Okay, so here we go. Oh, here's this back side that we don't want. So let's close that up and turn that into a back pocket. Sorry, not a side pocket, but a top pocket. See, the key here with this accordion style of album is that you want to turn it into a book. You don't want it to be this stream of paper. I mean, I've seen it before. I do have an accordion album that I'm going to showcase in the next couple weeks, but I wanted this to look more like an album rather than an accordion file. So that's why we're turning it into a book here. Okay, so here's another, let's remove that price tag. Not that I really needed to. You just glue that all together. You wouldn't even see it, but not a big deal. Okay, again, you are more than welcome to turn it into top pocket if you want, or just seal it up completely. But if you know me, I love tags, and I go a little overboard with embellishing and putting a ton of things in my scrapbook journals, but that's just me. So if you're more minimalist and you're not a tag person, then you can just kind of close all this up. It's not a big deal. So there is that back side that we want to close up. There's your pocket. There's a page, and oh, there's that back side that we don't want, that we will turn again into a top pocket. Okay, so this completes that framework for your album. And this is exactly the way it should look. And here's your mini book. Okay, now this is where the fun part begins. Embellishing this album will be so much fun. I used the Kaisercraft Curiosity Collection, as well as some chipboard and some paper from the 49 Market in the Leaves Vintage Artistry Collection. And then I also used some sheets of paper from the Reminiscence, the Book 2 pattern cardstock. Most of the pieces of paper will be cut by 2 7/8 by 2 7/8. It's called cover papers. Now in this case, we are going to do what I call a side flap. And this one is cut at 2 7/8 by 4 3/8 of an inch. And then it is scored at 2 7/8. And so this is more like a half flap series. So it just opens up like that. Picture in there, or some text, some sayings, whatever you like. I actually am going to do just a cover page here so that I don't over embellish. Okay, so the next page is what I call the flap series. So this is called the top flap, and this measures 2 7/8 by 5 3/4. And then you score it at 2 7/8. Okay, and that is our top flap. So it's like a mini album in a mini album. And it just flips open, where you can put some text in there, some journaling, or just a picture. And the next page that we're placing on there is just a cover page, something simple, especially when the page beside it is going to be quite elaborate. We'll just keep this one simple. And then again, a place to do some journaling. And this measures at 2 7/8 by 2 7/8. So now this next page, we're going to do a side flap, which is essentially the exact same thing as the top flap, but we are making sure that it actually opens from the side. So again, this one measures at 5 3/4 by 2 7/8. And you're scoring down the middle at 2 7/8 of an inch. Now the next page is a simple page. I call this the belly band page, where you just take a cover sheet and it's 2 7/8 by 2 7/8 of an inch. And then you grab a piece of cardstock, which is a little longer than 2 7/8, because you're gonna wrap this around the page. And this is I would say 1/2 inch in thickness. And what this is a belly band where you can place things in between. Now, I'm not really liking the way this looks. If I ever embellish and make this kind of belly band type of holder, I usually will use some kind of yarn, or in this case, I will use embroidery floss. And I love to just wrap it around the paper and then use it as a way to stick tags or any embellishments or anything that I want to save from like my travels or anything like that. That's my way of showcasing little trinkets inside my scrapbook journals, because what it does is it doesn't hide what you want to showcase. It's kind of like in fashion right now, how, you know, do I dare say this, but yeah, like, you know, the big thing is like sheer tops that showcase that really fancy negligee underneath. I don't know if that's socially acceptable, but I guess that's the fashion and people are really into that. I think, you know what, some people can wear it. I'm okay with that because it looks quite fancy and looks really, really nice. But this is kind of the idea. is, you know, just showcasing pretty much the whole piece of artwork underneath without covering it up. Do I have one of those tops? Yes, I do. It's reserved for date nights only. Okay, I digress. Let's get back to crafting. So this is what I call a half flap. You have two pieces of 2 7/8 by 2 7/8 inch pieces, so 2 cover pages. And what you do is you take one page and you score it. I think this one is at 1 inch. And you score it and then you just adhere it to your base. And then you have this flap that just covers that journal page, I guess, in this case, just ever so slightly. And you're probably wondering why you do that. It makes it look interesting, and you'll see how I use the ephemera on this. Now the next page, again, without going over the top, is just a cover page, 2 7/8 of an inch by 2 7/8 of an inch. Okay, this next technique is one of my favorites. I call this the wallet flap. So it has pretty much 2 score lines in the middle and then this kind of wallet type of opening where it's 2 7/8 and then along the length it measures at 7 inches. And then what you do is you score it 2 7/8 and 5 7/8. Now you can do one of two things. You can do it this way, where it flaps open from the top, or actually you can go from the side and have it open that way. This next page is what I call the scrap page. So you have 2 pieces of scraps. One is obviously a leftover 2 7/8 by 2 7/8 cover page, and then the other one is just a piece of scrap that you want to use up. So all you're doing is taking that piece of scrap and adhering it to the cover page. Okay, so what we're doing here is just creating pockets out of scrap pieces of paper. Now, when I craft, when I lay down any piece of paper, I love to ink the edges. It just gives it that finished look, and I'll most likely go around to all these pages and ink them up a little later on. So there is your mini pocket. Okay. The next page is what I call my accordion flap. And what you do is you cut out a piece of paper that's 2 7/8 and then 10 inches in length. and then you're scoring at 2 7/8, 5 7/8, and 1 1/8 of an inch, 1 1/8 of an inch. And then you fold it like you did with the album, where it's this accordion type of fold. And what I'm going to do here is add a little bit of adhesive and then make that top part an actual pocket. Now, if you give this to someone, ideally, if they're not a crafter, I wouldn't send it to them empty. If you know them and you hang out with them and you have lots of pictures of them and their families, then fill it with some photos and then leave the journaling space open for them so they can interact with the journal, the album, and write their own thoughts and feelings in there. Because the one thing I found is that if you're giving this to a non-crafter, they won't know what to do with it. So you kind of have to explain to them, all the lined pieces of paper, that's for you to journal your thoughts, alongside all the photos I placed in there. There, and now you have a pocket that you can slip. My husband would be like, slip some money in there. Like, no, we're good. We should be. This is what I call sweat equity. So I don't think you need to. Mind you, my husband would be like, or a red envelope with money in it. See, that's something he would say if I was giving that to him. How sad. Anyways, the next page is what I call the miscellaneous mishap, where you have these odd pieces of paper that you want to use and you don't know how to use them. So see, there's this page that is not your cover page. This one's been scored wrong. I couldn't use it, but either way, you take this page that does have that 2 7/8 measurement, and then you score it at 2 7/8. And then what you want to do is position that flat piece so that it covers up anywhere where that one piece is lacking in measurements or in extra paper. So I'm just gonna line that up. You can do one of two ways. You can just either place it down like that and then your other flat piece will just be on the bottom and it flaps open, or you can do it this way, do it that way, and then maybe make another pocket if you want. But since I have a pocket on the other side, I'm not gonna do that. Okay, after much debate, I'm going to do it this way, where I'm just going to take that miscellaneous mishap, place it on the bottom, use it as a bottom sheet, and then this longer piece will be more of a flap that covers that piece there. Okay, the next page we're going to do is what I call a pocket page. Plain and simple. What you're doing is taking a piece of paper that is 2 7/8 by 4 3/8. You're scoring it at 2 7/8. And then you're just folding that over and creating a pocket. I guess this is like the first one, the side flap, but without obviously turning it into a pocket. Okay, so there is your pocket side or your pocket series. Now the next page is what I call the flap series. And you take a cover page, which is 2 7/8 by 2 7/8, and then another page, which is 2 7/8 and 2 3/8 of an inch in length. And you score that one at 2 7/8 so that you have a little bit of left over, and you've got this little flap series occurring here. I know this is kind of like the miscellaneous mishap, but a little different. This is actually intentional. This is not scrap pieces of paper. So if you're wondering, well, what is that? What is the difference between this and your miscellaneous mishap? I'm like, well, this was intentional because you can see everything kind of matches and and you can actually add more flaps to that. But in this case, because the scrapbook journal is getting quite bulky and we want to add more things to it, like your pocket tags, we're just going to keep this one simple. Yeah, I'm not going to add another one. Let's just keep it just like that. Okay, this is where we finish off the rest of the scrapbook journal by placing a back page and a cover page. But we also want to have a binding system so that you have a little bit of a closure on this book, because actually you will need a closure because it will just pop right open on you. So I'm going to show you how to adhere ribbon onto your book. What you want to do is cut out, in this case for this album, about 20 inches. Now, I love embellishing my tags with different tag toppers, but in this case, I'm just going to use the acorns. If you're interested in how I create all these different tag toppers, especially this perfectly rounded wax seal one, then wait till the end of this video where I'll have a link that will show you how to create these really interesting elements. And if you're wondering how I created these really neat pop-up butterflies, then I will place a link at the end of this video that will show you how to do just that.